I was 20 years old when the letter came. It was folded neatly, stamped with the seal of the United States government, and it shattered everything. Before that moment, my life was simple. I was a farmer's son from rural Iowa, waking up before dawn to feed the chickens and checking on the cornfields with dirt under my fingernails and the sun on my neck. The world was small. Our town barely had a stoplight. But I knew it, loved it, and figured I'd live and die there. Until that letter arrived. It started with greetings, a polite way of saying, "We own you now." I was being drafted into the United States Army. No warning, no choice. Vietnam. The word didn't even mean anything to me yet. I'd only heard about it in half-mumbled radio broadcasts and kitchen table arguments. But by the time I finished reading that letter, the farm felt like a distant memory. My mother cried. My father didn't say a word, just tightened his jaw and patted me on the shoulder. That's how men said goodbye in those days. Boot camp hit like a hammer. They took you apart, piece by piece. First your hair, then your clothes, then your name. You weren't a person anymore. You were a number, a body to be broken down and rebuilt into a soldier. They screamed at us until our ears rang and our eyes stopped blinking. We marched until our feet bled, crawled through mud, cleaned rifles until they sparkled like museum pieces. I learned how to stab a man with a bayonet, how to throw a grenade, how to dig a foxhole faster than I'd ever hoed a row of beans. But nothing they taught us prepared us for what came next. Vietnam wasn't like the movies. It was hot, wet, and alien. The moment the plane door opened, the heat slapped you in the face like a wet towel. The air stank of rot and diesel. You couldn't see the enemy, but you could feel them, always watching, always waiting. The jungle was alive with whispers, crickets, birds, things you couldn't name. And the trees? They weren't just trees. They were cover, camouflage, death with leaves on it. They dropped me into a unit that had already seen too much. I was the new guy, the fresh meat. Most of the others looked older than they were, with 1,000-yard stares and hands that never stopped shaking. They didn't talk much, just smoked, checked their gear, and waited for the next mission. That's when I realized they didn't expect to make it home. They were just trying to make it to tomorrow. We went on patrols through rice paddies and jungle trails, sweating through our uniforms, rifles clutched tight. Every step could be your last. One wrong move, and you'd lose a leg to a mine or a friend to a sniper hiding in the trees. Sometimes we'd be out for days, sleeping in the mud, eating cold rations, jumping at every sound. Then the ambushes would come, sudden, loud, chaotic, bullets snapping like firecrackers, the air thick with smoke and screams. And just as fast as it started, it would be over. Then came the silence, the counting. Who made it? Who didn't? And the cleanup. Always the cleanup. I saw things I'll never forget. A kid from Georgia got hit in the neck during a firefight. We tried to stop the bleeding, but it just kept coming. He died calling for his mama. Another guy, quiet, wiry, from Detroit, stepped on a booby trap and vanished. Just gone. We only found pieces of him. You don't forget that. You can't. It burns into your brain like a brand. You start to wonder if your soul can bleed too. And yet in that hell, we found brotherhood. Real brotherhood. Not the kind you get at a bar or a ball game, but the kind forged in fear and fire. I trusted those men with my life, and they trusted me with theirs. We didn't talk about politics or the draft or why we were there. None of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was staying alive and keeping each other alive. When one of us got hit, we all felt it. When one of us cracked, we all did. You became a different kind of family, one built on blood, sweat, and shared nightmares. The jungle didn't care if you were scared. It didn't care if you missed home or if you were a farm boy who just wanted to get back to his tractor. It swallowed you whole. We lost men to enemy fire, but also to disease, to heat stroke, to despair. Some just stopped. They sat down, stared into the trees, and never came back. Their bodies lived, but their minds didn't. That was the war too, a slow war inside your head. Letters from home were gold. I used to read my mother's letters until the paper was soft from folding and unfolding. She'd write about the weather, about the harvest, about my dog getting older. It was nothing and everything. For a few minutes, I was back home, smelling the fields, hearing the wind through the corn. But the dream always ended when the sergeant shouted or a chopper thumped overhead, reminding me where I really was. And then there were the civilians, the Vietnamese families caught in the middle. They looked at us with a mix of fear, resentment, and pleading. We didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak ours, but we understood each other too well. They wanted us gone. We wanted to go. But until the orders came, we stood there, armed to the teeth, pretending we could fix what was broken. Eventually, my time was up. I didn't believe it at first. After so many months of killing, crawling, hiding, I wasn't sure how to stop. When they put me on the Freedom Bird, the flight home, I kept expecting it to turn around. I didn't feel joy, I felt numb, like the war had carved out a piece of me and left nothing in its place. Home wasn't the same. The fields were still there, the sky still stretched over the plains like a painted ceiling, but I wasn't the same man who'd left. People didn't understand. Some looked at me like a hero, some spat at me, called me a baby killer. I didn't say anything. What could I say? I didn't even know how I felt. I just wanted to sleep without waking up screaming. They gave me a medal, a handshake, and nothing else. No job, no therapy, just thanks for your service and silence. So I went back to the farm, back to the dirt, the sun, the chickens, but the war stayed with me. In the creak of a floorboard, in the pop of a tractor backfiring, in the way I flinched when someone knocked on the door too loud. I tried to forget, but forgetting is its own kind of war. Over the years, I found peace, little by little. I married, had kids, taught them to plant corn, to respect the land. I told them some stories, never the whole truth, just enough to let them know their old man had been to a place where people dawned to come back the same. Some days I sit on the porch and watch the wind roll over the fields, and I think about the boys who didn't make it back, the ones who never got the chance to sit on a porch again. I was a farmer, then a fighter, then somehow both. Vietnam didn't define me, but it marked me, burned its shape into my soul like the sun burns lines into the earth. And while I can't change what happened, I can remember. I can carry those stories, those names, those faces, and make sure they're not lost in time. Because behind every war, there's a kid like me, plucked from peace, thrown into chaos, and left to pick up the pieces long after the battle's done.